Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a B-movie review and I'll be having a look at the movie Legendary, Tomb of the Dragon. Now this movie stars Scott Adkins and Dolph Lundgren. Now you'd be forgiven for thinking that the title of this movie may be about a dragon. And also since it stars Scott Adkins and Dolph Lundgren, it's going to be some kind of martial arts action film. And you'll be wrong on both counts. The actual plot of this movie is essentially about this kind of mysterious creature, this large lizard that's been seen in sort of rural China. And we've got two teams of people. One, a group of scientists led by Scott Adkins, and they kind of ultimately want to kind of study and capture this creature for, you know, to understand where it's come from and what it is. We've got another team of people led by Dolph Lundgren, who are ultimately sort of big game hunters. They just want the thrill of the kill. Now we actually have a prologue where we see these characters actually all on one team. They're actually hunting this kind of giant bear, which unfortunately leads to the death of one of the team. And ultimately, the main story, I suppose, is actually a little bit later. And ultimately, you've kind of got a cat and mouse game with these sort of two groups of people ultimately sort of trying to track down this creature that's been responsible for the death of a variety of locals in sort of this rural sort of Chinese area. And eventually, it's ultimately kind of a confrontation between two groups and obviously with the creature itself. So it's probably not the movie you're expecting from these guys. Now, I have to say, it's probably a good move in the part of Scott Adkins because he does kind of, I guess, need to sort of expand his sort of career choice a little bit rather than he tends to sort of stick to these kind of martial art movies that he's very good at, I will say. But it is nice to see him in a kind of role which doesn't really have any kind of martial arts in it whatsoever. There are a couple of fight scenes, but they're kind of not really the focus of this movie whatsoever. But I have to say, this kind of movie is B-movie fodder. There's not really a lot to sort of kind of get new fans from this sort of genre. It's pretty much just run-of-the-mill sort of TV movie stuff. One of the things that I found quite interesting now, you have there's lots of superfluous characters in this movie. You've got these two teams, particularly the sort of Scott Adkins team. There seems to be a lot of characters there, and some of which you just don't need at all. In fact, most of them, they are completely superfluous to the actual plot and completely could be written out and it really have no real bearing on the story whatsoever. The actual performances, particularly from Scott Adkins, I don't think they're too bad, I have to say. But the dialogue, the way it's written, the way it's directed, I have to say, is also comes across as a little bit cheesy sometimes, and just the sort of the way it's shot just makes it seem a little bit cartoony, kind of almost pantomimish sometimes. It's an okay film. Obviously, the actual creatures themselves are sort of CGI. The kind of the large lizard reminds me of the Rango character from the animated movie. So, but it's kind of a different sort of take on the kind of obviously a large monster movie. It's not sort of supernatural or mythical at all. It is just kind of some kind of unexplained creature that which the world hasn't seen at this point. It kind of moves on at a fair old pace, and there's kind of lots of sort of superfluous action scenes with people sort of sneaking into the other one's camp and trying to sort of get information and whatnot. It's an okay movie for a bit of a time waster. Like I said, it's nice to see Scott Adkins in something other than a kind of martial arts movie. But this movie, I think, is pretty much forgettable once you've seen it. If you're a bit of a monster fan, you may get a kick out of it. There's lots of sort of scientific techno babble, but you don't really believe that obviously these guys are really scientists at any point. I'm going to have to say this movie, I'll give it a 3.5 out of 10. It wasn't a bad film, but there's nothing really special, even kind of B-movie standards. Maybe worth a look if you're a big Scott Adkins or Dolph Lundgren fan. I have to say Dolph Lundgren is just the same as he is in any other movie. It's just kind of very monosyllabic and just kind of slumming it ultimately to get a paycheck. But, you know, what do we expect from Dolph Lundgren? I like the guy, but he hasn't got a huge amount of range. 3.5 for me. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? Leave me a comment. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.